Ethereum eyes a monumental drop down to $1,000, but is there anything that's going to save Ethereum? Is Ethereum actually looking like potentially being able to flip Bitcoin in the future? We're going to look at a news article from Raoul Pal as well as Ethereum chart analysis that's showing something very interesting happening right now. Hello guys, and welcome to the House of Crypto. I make videos about Ethereum as well as other cryptocurrencies. If you want to learn more about cryptocurrency and Ethereum, make sure you hit that subscribe button to be kept up to date with all of the latest happening in Ethereum and other cryptocurrencies. Without further ado then, let's have a look at the charts and at the news for today. Right guys, before we look at any news or anything today, I want to draw your attention to this statement from Warren Buffett, who's obviously the world's most successful investor. And he says, "Be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful." What does that mean? If you remember a few months ago, when we were all super high up in Bitcoin, Ethereum, altcoins, and they were all flying, and everyone was super excited, they're all going to go be millionaires. That's when everyone was feeling greedy, everyone was topping up at the sort of $4,000 level in Ethereum, $60,000 plus in Bitcoin. Obviously, people were feeling pretty greedy at that time, but at the moment, you can see from both YouTube, you can see in the news, that there is a huge amount of fear in the markets. And when we are super fearful, that's actually when the big money is actually buying. If you think about what the markets are trying to do, when they're super high, they're trying to get people like you and me to invest because the big whales, etc., want to sell off their crypto. Okay, and they need to be able to sell it to someone. They need liquidity in the market. So they create this kind of news, etc., that will circulate around this sentiment. On the flip side of things, when things are low down and it looks like it's going to fall off the shelf and everyone's panicking and everyone's panic selling, that's actually when we tend to be due a price reversal. So I'm not saying guaranteed that it's going to happen, that we could actually see a bounce from here, but it's always worth considering this sentiment because it is very important. Before we jump over to the main charts, I want to bring you over to this story from Raoul Pal. Raoul Pal has been a huge Bitcoin bull for a long time now, and has also kind of flipped over towards Ethereum, saying that Ethereum will massively outperform Raoul Pal in a few years. And why am I showing you this story is because if we are to take a dip further down, but I want to draw your attention to the fact that this is a short-term move. Okay, so we're going to potentially see a bit of a drop down, and if we do, then this is a fantastic buying opportunity in my opinion. Obviously go away and do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor, but there's great opportunities to be had when the markets are falling. That's when people really are going to be making money in crypto over the longer time, rather than buying when we're super high. If you think now we can buy under $2,000, whereas a few weeks ago people couldn't buy for over $4,000, and they wanted to be able to go back in time to buy it cheaper. Okay, so Raoul Pal has gone all in. He recalled noticing and commenting on the devastating economic bubble in 1998, 2008, 2012, and so on. As a result, he started to look for the recipe that would show how a disaster could be avoided. He's been talking about the recession, he's been talking about all the inflation, all the problems that are happening in the world right now, and especially since we've had COVID, the effect that that's had on the world and the financial situation of the world. And he sees things like Bitcoin and Ethereum as being the best way to mitigate his risk in this situation. Okay, so 100% of his liquid portfolio back in August was all into Bitcoin. However, he's slowly been starting to move money into Ethereum, and he believes that a flippening is expected. Mr. Powell is certain that in the macro view, Ethereum performance will be far more impressive than other cryptocurrency heavyweights. And I broadened that out and increased my Ethereum exposure by about October, thinking that Ethereum was actually going to massively outperform for at least a couple of years. Okay, so his personal bet now stands at 55% Ethereum and 25% Bitcoin, with the rest distributed around a number of tokens. And his main interest is in NFTs and all the other things that run on the Ethereum blockchain. Okay, so there are other operators in the DeFi space, Cardano, etc., but as the original, Ethereum has a massive head start in the DeFi space and the NFT market. Despite what you think about NFTs, whether you think they're a terrible idea, whether you think they're a great idea, obviously it's not necessarily that important, guys, because lots of people think that they are super exciting and that there's a great opportunity to be had in NFTs. And ultimately, it doesn't always really matter what our own personal view of something is, but the mass people are very excited about the NFT space, and it's all been run on the Ethereum blockchain. So NFTs at the moment are actually performing relatively strongly, where the rest of the crypto market is struggling. Things look very scary on the Ethereum chart right now, and I wanted to do this video because I see a lot of people saying that, we're about to drop off the face of a cliff, and there is a fairly reasonable potential that that's going to happen. Okay, so if we look back to these levels, sort of between the $1,500 level and up towards the sort of $2,180 level, we have a huge amount of buying and selling going on. Now, what we could potentially see is when we came back to these areas here, a lot of people would have been putting in buy orders. Every time we took a bounce, buy orders. Now, the problem with that is if we do take a dip back below these wicks, what people will have in place is a lot of stop losses. And what happens when stop losses are triggered is that it does tend to mean that all their buy orders then get flipped into sell orders, and suddenly a load of crypto arrives back on the market, and you can see these dumps. And this is what happened here, where we had a liquidation event where it starts slower and then it just snowballs and runs away with us. So if we are to drop out the bottom of this pattern and we are to break this support level of around $1,700, then we are very likely to see a fall potentially back towards $1,000, right down towards these levels here, sort of between $1,200 and $1,000. But what could potentially save us if we take from this swing low all the way back on the 12th of March with the Fibonacci tool and we bring it all the way up to this high here, we can see the 0.618, which is the golden number, sitting at around the $1,732 level. And you notice, paying attention to what's been happening, every time we've come down 1, 2, 3, and now 4 times we've had big wicks, we've come down and we've touched it, and literally to the dollar have perfectly touched it, and we've seen this bounce back to the upside. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to hold us and we're guaranteed to be able to push back from here, but that is quite a positive show that we are finding support in these areas, and I wouldn't be looking to put in huge short positions right now until we can break and hold below this level. And if we don't break and hold below this level and we continue to build above it, then we could see some sideways action, and we could see a push back up towards the upside. Now, this pattern we've been looking at has been evolving over a period of time, and it has sort of turned more into what looks like a falling wedge. And yeah, we can draw it in a number of different ways. I've chosen to draw the bottom line along these wicks here, but actually what we see it finding is a bit of support. And in terms of falling wedges, they're actually more bullish patterns than not. If we were to see this maintain strength, then I am looking for potentially a bounce back towards the $2,000 level. If it is to make it back to $2,000 level, it's going to be very interesting to see whether it's going to be able to hold above that, or whether we are going to take a further dip from that and move towards the bottom. Now, obviously, as I mentioned, things could move very quickly, but this is a huge support zone here, guys, okay? In the past, acted as resistance, it then turned into support, created resistance again, broke through, and then each time has provided us with a good deal of support, okay? So there's a lot of people looking to buy in this area. There may also be a lot of people who are looking to short it, but not until it drops below these levels. So at the moment, there's not a huge amount of volume, which is what's needed for breakouts, and why each time we've kind of had breakouts, nothing ever really materialized because of the lack of volume. Think about what the big buyers are doing at the moment. The whales are accumulating, okay? The people who are selling off, people like you and me, the retailers, are the ones who are selling off, which is making the price slowly drop. But the big buyers are the ones who basically, control the market, and they want the price to be low so they can buy more. So at the moment, in my opinion, this is actually a pretty solid buying opportunity. Obviously, I won't go all in at these levels, because if it does drop further, then I can just buy more, okay? So it's all about dollar cost averaging, guys. If you think about what Ethereum has the potential of doing in the next coming years, if Ethereum is going to hit something like $20,000, $40,000, to be able to buy at $1,700, guys, is a pretty fantastic opportunity, in my opinion. If we are to take this break, then we do need to see more strength coming in the market, perhaps building back. And if we do get towards this orange line and break out and confirm and bounce, then this could potentially be the reversal of the price that we've been looking for, okay? So be very careful about all the news that you're reading at the moment, and don't make any rash decisions, okay? When you do see a bit of a dump, then you can sell off, your own money, your own choice, but ultimately that's what the market's trying to make you do, because it needs the liquidity so it can buy more. At the moment, we're literally hanging by a thread. It could go one way or the other, so make sure you're prepared and you have an idea of what you're going to do at each time. If we do take a drop further down, if you're looking to sell, where would you potentially sell, and where would you potentially look to buy back in if this does take a drop to the downside? However, if it's going to continue to bounce, if we do see a sharp bounce, then we don't necessarily want to run and chuck money into it at around the $2,000 level, because again we could get some sort of a swift rejection. But realistically, I think if we can see a climb above $2,400, which does seem very far off right now, then we will form a W pattern here, and it will break this previous high and put in another high. At the moment, we're putting in pretty much a flat level low. Okay, it hasn't really gone any lower, hasn't gone any higher, so all very much up to play for at the moment, guys. Very exciting. Something that might be a bit surprising is coming around the corner, in my opinion. So don't make any rash decisions, guys. Don't act on your emotions. Think about what's in front of you. Use all the information you've got to hand, of which there's quite a lot. And I know it's all conflicting information, which can be quite confusing. But ultimately, think about what the big money is doing, because the big money, it's not stupid money, okay? They're the smart money. The reason they've got lots of money is because they make good decisions and they buy at the right times and they sell at the right times, okay? So, guys, I hope you've enjoyed today's update on Ethereum. If you're new to the channel and you like slightly different content today, make sure you hit that subscribe button to be kept up to date with all of the latest Ethereum news, as well as Ethereum chart analysis, as well as Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Thanks very much for watching, guys. See you again soon with another video. Bye-bye.